What a great start for 2025 for the UFC. Honestly, going into this card, I thought it was going to be a shit show with the amount of people getting hurt and fights getting canceled, specifically with Sarukian and Johnny Walker. But 311 was a really fun card. I haven't had that much fun watching a card in a while. I expected a lot more decisions to come out of it. Only getting one decision from Merab was really nice to see. Now let's just go over the fights really quick. I'm only going to talk about the main card because if I talked about all the fights, then this video would end up being 30 minutes. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and comment what you are most excited for the UFC. The first fight we're going to talk about is Holland vs. De Ridder. Now, Holland vs. De Ridder was a really fast fight, and you could tell as soon as it started. Because as soon as it started, they were punching, and Holland was immediately looking for some sort of armbar or maybe a leg triangle. But the thing is, Holland didn't have great defense, you know? De Ridder was getting a lot of elbows in there, and he actually cut Holland's eye, and it was actually a really quick fight. It was that, and then they scrambled, and then Ridder locked in a rear naked choke, and Holland had to tap. Fight number 2 was Almeida versus Spivak, which I really went into it not really giving a shit about either fighter. I know that Almeida is a very good grappler, very good jiu-jitsu, not a lot of striking, but going into this fight, he actually was doing quite good striking-wise. Lots of wrestling, lots of jiu-jitsu. It was really aggressive though. Aggressive wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You'd have Spivak on top mount. Then you'd have Almeida on top mount. And they flipped it maybe 2 or 3 times. And then Almeida caught Spivak with a punch that put him down and just started wailing on him, and the fight got stopped. Moving on to fight number 3. Honestly, my favorite fight of the entire card because Yuri Prohaska's on that card, and it was a very good fight. You know, very technical striking. I was a little worried about Yuri because he said he was improving his defense, and then every time Hill would hit him, his head would crank back like 90 degrees, looking like a Mortal Kombat TKO. Thing is, Hill's endurance and his chin didn't keep up with Yuri's chin, because by the time they got to the 3rd round, Yuri put him to sleep. And honestly, watching that fight, I was sitting there like, I wanted Yuri to kill him, and he did, and I was very excited to see that. That was probably my favorite fight of the card, more so than Almeida. But a close second is this next fight number 4 with Merab and Umar. And honestly, I didn't even consider this on my radar as a good fight. I thought it would be a Merab holding him down match, but I didn't expect Umar to gas out so fast. It was a very good fight. Merab and Umar striking for the first 2 or 3 rounds for the most part, not seeing a lot of takedowns from Merab, which I didn't think could happen. And Umar was actually winning. He won those first 2 rounds, but the thing is, I did not expect the Dagestani fighter to start gassing out only at round 3. He's trying to go to sleep right now. He's trying to get that energy back. And Merab is just trucking forward, you know, keeping up his pace. And, you know, that's what happened in the 4th and 5th round, you know. And there was a lot of what I noticed, what was draining Umar the most was Merab getting into these clinch fights with him and just laying his entire body weight onto Umar, just laying it on him so that he had to have to fight really hard to get him off. Fight number 5, which funnily enough was one of the fights I was most excited for until Arman pulled out. And then it was one of the fights I was looking forward to the least because, to be honest, we all knew Islam was going to win that fight. You know, in your heart you want Moicano to win, but in your head you know Islam's going to win, which is exactly what happened. Granted, Moicano looked good for like maybe 10 seconds. He dropped Islam with, I think it was a right hand, and then Islam just got up, locked in, shot a single leg, and Darce choked him, and that was it. 1st round submission, and that was the main card. Very fun card. I had a really great time watching it. But quickly, I just want to mention the next card that was announced, which was UFC 313. Now, if you remember, UFC 312 has already been announced, with the main event being Strickland and Duplessis. I've got Duplessis continuing to be our champion. And then the co-main event, Zhang Weili and Tatiana Suarez. I think Zhang Weili will continue to be champion. I think both champions will defend their belts. Other than that, the other main card fighters I'm not really a big fan of. And by big fan of, I mean I don't really know them yet. I haven't really seen them fight. I know this Taliesin Teixeira guy is coming out of the Contendership series, so that might be interesting. But nothing really crazy there. But UFC 313 is looking a little crazy. For one, you already know it's going to be a good card because Alex Pereira is on the card against Magomed Ankalaev. Here's the thing. All these fighters are saying, oh, I want to outstrike Alex Pereira. I want to outstrike him. I want to prove that he is a man on the feet. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, so do you not want the belt? Just wrestle him. Don't be stupid. Don't be silly. Like, I don't know what is going on with these fighters that they feel like they have to prove something and outstrike Alex Pereira when, I mean, shit, hardly any of us know what Pereira's like on the ground. Maybe there's some old footage of him on the ground, but honestly, recently, he hasn't had to do anything on the ground. And all these fighters are showing up and playing the ball game that he wants to play. And that's what they keep saying in these press interviews. That's all I'm saying. I think the pride of these fighters is just getting them to lose against Pereira. Now, the co-main event is Gaethje versus Hooker. This is going to be a very interesting fight because both of these dudes are some tough motherfuckers, you know? They're just gonna throw at each other constantly, and I am extremely excited about that. That's gonna be, I don't really have many thoughts about it. I know Dan Hooker's tough. I know Gaethje's tough. I know Gaethje's coming off a really nasty KO, and Dan Hooker is coming off of 3 fight win streaks, 2 of them being split decisions though, which is not a great look, but it's not a bad look either. So we will see what happens. Looking forward to the next 2 cards and had a really good time watching UFC 311.